the other one away from accessing the president so that they build the economy. But that is what we had during the break. Let's come back to a news review. And corruption has refused to go away. The more days go, the more intense it becomes. Now, the Daily Nation has a story about what transpired at the Rio Olympics. Now, the report shows that the documents have an unbelievable level of theft and incompetence. There was embezzlement of funds by ministry officials, by team officials. The planning was not right, accommodation, kitting, ticketing, and virtually everything. They say these are the 5 crimes against sport. Apart from that, the story goes on into page 6. There's a detailed analysis on pages 9 to pages 65. But again, corruption now goes to another level, gentlemen. It ceases to be an issue of the people under the presidency and under the leadership of opposition. It goes to the 2 gentlemen at the top, the principals themselves. Raila attacks Uhuru over Waiguru and the DP Ruto aides. And Uhuru says Raila is castigating everything his government is doing. He's not seeing anything good. Apart from this, we also have reports about Kingi going to EACC, that is Amason Kingi, Governor Kilifi. We also have reports of Alfred Mutua, Governor Machakos, going before the Senate Parliamentary Accounts Committee. Your take on corruption. Chris, I'll start with you.
Corruption is a monster in this country, and for this economy to grow, we must find a solution when it comes to corruption. In fact, from the reports in Parliament, from the Auditor General, it showed that about 30% of the GDP of this country goes into wastages through corruption. And this country, we've had a lot of reports coming in. So the question is, how do we implement these reports? For instance, this issue of Rio, looking at the 5 crimes against sports, the issues of planning, whereby it talks of 12 sittings, and yet you only had 3 sittings. We're talking of accommodation, ticketing. This report has been given to the president. How is it going to be implemented? A report is an inquiry. You've looked into the evidence given. You've done the analysis. You've given the recommendations, the way forward. So what you want is His Excellency the President, because he's the CEO, the buck stops at him, to lead by example and ensure that this Rio report is implemented to the letter. So those people who are involved in terms of these wastages, in terms of this thefty, and it's outlined in the Constitution, Article 226 of the Constitution is very clear. It says that any government officer, whether you're in office or not, and you are the one who was in charge, and public funds were lost, you must be surcharged. So we want to see these people, whoever they are,
whether there is evidence pointing at you or not.
No, evidence must be, reports. You know, when you do a report, evidence has been submitted. You've done the analysis, you've looked at the observations, you've come to the conclusions, you've come to the recommendations based on that evidence that was given. So what we are requesting His Excellency the President to do is to implement this report. So whoever was involved, as far as these issues of corruption in the Rio saga is concerned, they must face the law and action must be taken. Now, when it comes to the national government and the county government, we must condemn corruption, whether it's at the national level or at the county government. So the governors who are responsible for these aspects of the loss of public funds, they must be responsible, they must be accountable. We can't run away from this. We can't, for instance, blame Raila Amolo Odinga when it comes to the issues of the counties, because the governors are there to be taken to court. If there is any evidence, we have the EACC in place, we have the DPP in place. So if there is evidence, they must be taken to court and must be charged. For example, somebody like the governor of Machakos, you know, he went to court to bar the court, to tell the court that he doesn't want to be investigated. This is impunity. So the amount of money that we are losing, the national level, so much, even at the county level, there's so much. A lot of funds were devolved, but corruption was also involved. And so the governors must take action. They must be responsible and ensure that the public funds are safe.
It's even worse in the county assemblies, as the audit report shows in the subsequent pages of the Daily Nation. Barack, the president is on record as having said, my hands are tied. There are institutions that should handle this. Raila Odinga tells the president, you should lead from the front. Chris Wamalwa here believes the president is the CEO. Corruption is going out of hand. Who will bear the cut? Who will put it to check?
First, if the president, as the chief executive of the country, says that his hands are tied, then he cannot expect Raila Odinga to do anything. because we have given the president all the institutions, the forums, and the instruments of fighting corruption. But there's a sense in which both the president and Raila Odinga disappoint me. The president is in denial all the time. Our money is being stolen in its billions, and the president is habitually and angrily defending those who have been accused, those at whom the fingers are pointing. And he has converted this whole thing, as Macharia Gaido suggests in today's press, to a dynastic war between the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family. This country is not about the Kenyatta and Odinga families. It's about the 44 or so million citizens of this country. And Raila Odinga, yes, there's a sense in which they are right, that he's very strategically quiet whenever things about the ODM counties come up. There have been things about Nairobi, he has said nothing. There have been things about counties at the coast which are within ODM, he has said nothing. If his role is only to say something, if his role is only to disclose and to condemn and to call somebody to action, it's a good role. But that role he must play across the board. There are things which have been said about Siaya, about Kisumu, about a whole variety of other counties within the ODM domain, and he has said nothing. And therefore, when people accuse him of double standards, Mheshimiwa Chris Wamalwa, your leader must accept that he's actually blowing hot and cold at the same time. But all said and done, the responsibility eventually resides with the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, CGH, and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of Kenya.
And the CEO of Kenya.
CEO of Kenya. We have given him the authority. And he doesn't have to go to central Kenya to start telling Raila Odinga to retire, to hang his boots, and to make derogatory statements like he's going to be giving him porridge in Bondo and so on. That is spiteful, it's scornful. He runs away from the responsibility we have given him. And when he tells us that his hands are tied and he's coming back to ask us to give him another term, we must ask the question, give him another term so that he can do what? And he has told us that he is defeated.
I want, David, before you take this away, I want us to look at the report by one of our senior reporters, Francis Gashuri, and put it into context. Exactly what did Raila Odinga say about accusing the president of Waiguru and Mheshimiwa William Ruto's aides? Director, if you have that clip, please, could we just have a short snippet of it?
In the statement to newsrooms, CORD leader Raila Odinga claimed the NYS scam was President Kenyatta's personal project, mooted and executed by former devolution cabinet secretary Anne Waiguru, who exited office last year under pressure from the opposition. The CORD leader alleged that Kenyatta was shielding Waiguru from prosecution, yet all other NYS and devolution ministry officials who were linked to the theft had been charged. Odinga's claims coinciding with the arrest and prosecution of former NYS Deputy Director General Adan Harake and former Devolution Ministry Tender Committee Chairman Hassan Noor. The two denied corruption and abuse of office charges before the Anti-Corruption Court and were released on a 1 million shillings cash bail. Jubilee lawmakers have accused Odinga of double-speak in the war against graft, being a vocal critic of alleged corruption in the national government while turning a blind eye and directly benefiting from corruption in counties managed by court governors. But Odinga argues that the opposition had no investigatory or prosecutorial powers and challenged the Jubilee administration to push for the prosecution of any court leader found culpable of looting or mismanaging county funds. Odinga also wants aides and close associates of Deputy President William Ruto linked to the NYS scam investigated and charged accordingly. Ruto's aide Farouk Kibet has in his written submissions to the Public Accounts Committee admitted receiving 1.5 million shillings from one of the scam's suspects, Josephine Kafura, while Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen was alleged to have acted for another NYS prime suspect, Ben Gethi. Murkomen denying claims of benefiting from the NYS looting. That billions of shillings were siphoned from the National Youth Service coffers is not in doubt, end as the matter turns into a political battlefront between Jubilee and CORD. The ultimate question is, will the masterminds of these grand scam be prosecuted successfully and the stolen resources recovered? Francis Gashuri, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, senior reporter Francis Gashuri. Quite an insightful piece there. David, is Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga guilty of doublespeak?
I wouldn't want to start from there. I would start from, like you said before the break.
Which is the content?
I'm going to speak about Raila and corruption after I say what I want to say. That I know that the president knows how much was lost in NYS.
How much was stolen?
How much was lost on NYS. I know that he knows who the monies went to.
Stole it.
I know that. Because he has the machinery and he has the capacity, to know who did what where. And so the idea that someone says his hands are tied, there's nothing they can do about it. And that's why Raila is saying that the instruments, the capacities, and Charles, we've given monies to EACC, to DCI, to DPP, we've given money to anybody who needs money to build their capacity. And so the idea that someone says we don't know, this gerrymandering, the Murkomen here, Guru there, these people are guilty. How do you in a ministry charge everybody, including the PS, and don't charge the minister? Who is an executive minister? How do you explain that? That everybody in the ministry is being charged apart from the minister. Why? That's the point you're making, and that's what Raila is saying. That why are we leaving Waiguru out? Yet she was the person appointing these people, the one signing documents. She knows what happened. So why has she not been charged? That's the question. And I think that question can be asked by anybody, not only Raila Odinga. Anybody can ask, because these are very legitimate questions. Now, in terms of the counties, not just the counties, but all the counties, I believe there's a sense in which political parties don't participate in graft. There's no party that has a policy that ours will be a policy of stealing. So where governors of CORD are involved, and I think on this one I want to tell my party leader, where your governors are involved, be forceful as you've been where the national government is involved. He needs to be forceful. He needs to come out and say that he will not tolerate corruption in the counties that are being run by CORD or ODM governors. That has not come from him. I think he needs to come out and say it clearly that I don't want corruption issues coming up against the governors of CORD, and where they are mentioned, as a party, I think we must get a way of dealing with our governors, even internally, because that's how we work. You've seen in ANC, a party that we keep saying we want to.
In South Africa.
Yes, we are saying we want to. Yes. They are, leave alone the national, the laws of the land. The party itself has mechanisms that if you've been mentioned in a light that would mess the name of the party deals with you.
To just amplify that, a cabinet minister in South Africa is set to move a motion of no confidence
on the president.
Yes. The president. And 3 of them are supporting that. So in that score, I believe that both Raila, Kalonzo, and Wetangula have not been forceful in putting the governors to account the way they are putting the national government in check. On the same account, Uhuru and Ruto have not been forceful in putting their governors to account, because that's the problem. And I want to tell you this as I finish this, what I wanted to say on this, that the president is lying to Kenyans that his hands are tied. That's not true. You saw that when they thought that Kimaya wasn't doing a good job, the former IG, they said he's going away, and he had to leave. So if someone is not doing a good job along the chain, just let him step aside. But above all, Charles, I think we need to see people dying in this country. Not dying? Yes. We need to see some people being killed.
That's growth.
Yes, and I want to tell you,
this is a country with the best record as far as the Bill of Rights is concerned.
If I was president today, I can assure you, some people will die.
Thank God you're not president, because apparently
he must explain.
Charles,
he must explain.
I'll explain. Charles, we failed as a country. Every other institution that's supposed to fight corruption is rotten. EACC is rotten. The police machinery is rotten. Where will we go? As president, let me tell you, I'll have a secret unit. I will kill you if you are going to stand on the way
if you are
finishing corruption, yes.
Regardless of what the
regardless of the law.
The law should be changed within 100 days. I'll go to Parliament so that anybody who is corrupt, if you are found guilty, you hang. I will do that in 100 days, because this country is not going to die under the weight, because we have corruption as old as 30 years old. We are paying money for Kenyan.
Okay,
we cannot do that.
Don't get emotional.
A few heads must roll. You must kill a few guys.
Don't get emotional.
You don't have 3-4 guys holding the whole country. They'll die.
We need each other in this country. But you seem to have been quite shocked to that.
Yeah, I'm completely flabbergasted. I've not known David to be like that. I think the instruments that we have, the laws that we have, they can serve us well. It's the political will that is not there. And as I have said, I get extremely disappointed to see my president, when he should be providing leadership, actually going out there to defend. I can say that he's actually defending the accused. If I were the president, I would quickly get you to step aside, because it's within my mandate and capacity to do so.
He has done that on
no, he hasn't.
He
has not.
Cabinet secretaries
under pressure. In fact, he first comes out to defend them, and when he is pushed completely to the wall, he makes certain gestures. Now that is tokenism. That is not fighting corruption. Indeed, his government has even fought the institutions that are there. We look at the drama within the EACC. Every so often we are having a new chairman, a new CEO, and as soon as they get there, they are scuttled. He's playing ping pong with us, and being very angry. It's as if this government was formed to be stealing, and that the projects that they are doing are excuses that give them the path to that stealing. And any time you talk about it, the president gets very angry. He speaks angrily. Sometimes I fear for him. I see a president who is almost
like David here,
who is almost bursting a vein like this, and we don't want the president to pop a vein.
Talking of institutions that should put corruption into check, initially corruption was ethnicized. Our man is being targeted.
Yes.
Then later on, it was politicized.
Yes.
They're targeting people of our party.
Yes.
Now Macharia Gaido and Barack Muluka have brought another term.
Yes.
It's now being dynasized.
Yes. Yeah.
It's now becoming a Raila family, an Odinga family versus a Kenyatta family. One of the institutions that need to put corruption in check is the county assemblies. I have an audit report here on page 8 and 9 of the Standard, which says this is where there is massive wastage of funds. An example, 7.5 million shillings used in Nakuru County Assembly. MCAs were given this money as per diems for sightseeing trips, passed on as training trips. We have an example where money was spent on MCAs who were attending a plowing championship in France. The MCAs were given
they
double.
Actually never went even.
They actually never went, apparently, according to this story. There are several tricks. In Nyandarua, MCAs split their meetings into 2 45-minute sessions so that they can earn 2 sessions in one day within a scope of 1.5 hours. Gentlemen, who will bear the cut?
What do you expect, Charles? If everyone is stealing across the board, what do you expect? They are learning this from what they are seeing happening in the whole country, that stealing pays, that nothing will happen to you.
Chris, does the common Mwananchi have a role in this?
Yeah, of course. Common Mwananchi has a role. You know, our laws allow any common Mwananchi to petition Parliament in case of any issue. But now I want to mention briefly on the issue of the county assembly, and this is to do with legislation. Currently in Parliament, I think last week we were debating something, the county assembly fund. The role of, we have 3 arms of government. We have the judiciary, we have legislature, and we have the executive. When it comes to the county level...
At the national level.
Yeah, at the national level. When it comes to the county level, we have the executive and we have the legislature, which is the county assembly. The unfortunate thing that has been happening in the county assembly, as far as the role in terms of oversight is concerned, is the governor who controls the funds when it comes to legislature. But I'm happy, I think last week there was a Senate bill that came to Parliament, and they want to create their own county assembly fund so that they're independent from the executive.
So that the money comes straight from the
executive. Yeah, because because when you rely on the executive, the governor will twist you, and you cannot provide oversight. Look at what happened in Machakos, when they came up with a motion to impeach the governor. What Governor Mutua did, he just had to get some MCS to give out some money to go for a foreign trip.
Alleged.
Absolutely. No, it's not alleged. It's something that has been proven. They went.
Maybe it was in the calendar of their
No. It can't. Why should it come at the time when we're debating that matter in Parliament?
Go?
Absolutely. So the issue here is this. There are some of the teething problems. When it comes to the devolution level, at the county level, Senate was a bit slow in terms of maybe coming up with those laws that will also help the county assembly to provide their oversight role, because they rely on the governor. And the executive here, you've seen in many other counties, the executive have put MCS on loans, guaranteeing them their monthly money they are getting. He goes to withdraw the guarantee that is there. They want to be auctioned. So the level of independence at the county level has been low. Again, the level of capacity building. You know, this is something new. Majority of them here, some of them were councillors. So there is that element of the way they were behaving as councillors still coming in the county assembly. So we need to do more of capacity building as far as the MCA level is concerned, so they can be able to understand their critical role when it comes to oversighting the issue of legislation and the issue of representation. But as time go by, some of the laws that are coming, I think they're going to bring some order as far as the operations of the devolved units are concerned.
Just before we bring Barak in, there's some systemic issue that we need to discuss as regards the county assemblies. You know, the way we did them, these are basically monolithic legislatures.
What's that?
In the sense that you find a county assembly like Mombasa has 30 MCAs. All of them ODM.
Yeah.
Yes.
You go to Siaya, where I come from, if they're not all ODM, out of 30 probably 26 are ODM. Yes. They both speak the same mother tongue. This is our government.
They're all
this is our governor. We cannot impeach an ODM governor. It's an ODM government. We cannot do this to it. So we must start thinking very deeply on how to ensure that we have multi-party in the
divergence of views
in the county assemblies. It's a very important issue, because you know the way we carved our counties was very wrong. We carved our counties. What was difficult in putting Siaya together with the Busia, so that we have at least varied interests and some diversity. Okay, but going ahead, and you've had everyone now singing 6-piece, that you must vote 6-piece. Now it won't work for county assemblies. We're going to have the same problem, that whenever you want to put the governor to account, you saw in Nairobi that the MCA, the ODM MCA that was trying to bring issues about Kidero has just been expelled from the party. You saw it. So these are the issues that must be discussed as regards county assemblies.
Thank you. Barak, Chris has mentioned the issue of laws that will give more teeth and more power to these oversight institutions. What's your take about the level of education for MCAs who are going to oversight governors who must have a university degree?
You know, I grew up in this country in the days of the third parliament, which so far remains the most efficient and the most assertive legislative forum that this country has had. And about 70–80% of those MPs did not have university degrees.
78%?
Yes, and I speak as somebody who boasts of a number of university degrees, just in case Mheshimiwa Chris here starts doubting. I have got about 4 of them.
all right,
more. But I don't think that a university degree is a guarantee to good legislation. People like Martin Shikuku did not have university degrees. People like George Anyona did not have university degrees. And there are many others in the third Parliament of 1974–1979. We have got good laws, but we have degenerated into a country that Mwalimu Nyerere for so many years ago, a man-eat-man society. When you get somebody into an office, the first thing they do when they get there is to look for an opportunity to steal. And all this is stemming even from society itself. You see, these 2 gentlemen here will shortly be going out to start asking Kenyans to give them votes if they haven't already begun doing that. And one of the things that they will not admit to having done this far is that they have put together financial war chests that they must go out there and dish out free money to Kenyans so that those Kenyans can vote for them. Whether you are an MCA or you want to become an MCA, you want to become a member of the National Assembly, a governor, Kenyans out there expect you to go out and bribe them. And that is already
and so you could say it's the public that pushes
it's a
corruption.
form of corruption. We have legitimized corruption in this country. We have legitimized stealing. And sometimes before we even point fingers, we must each interrogate ourselves. Am I not corrupt myself?
Fair enough, Barack. Viewers, will be taking another short commercial break, and when we return, President Uhuru Kenyatta now tells Raila Odinga, the leader of opposition, that you better go home. I will assure you, I will be bringing you uji to Bondo. And apart from that, we had 1 week ago we had a nasty incident, fight between two legislators. Over last weekend we had another incident, a fight between a legislator and a politician. What really is this intolerance about? Shortly after this.